Hello all, welcome to this first class in projection of solids. And the first problem is a square prism 35 mm side of base and 60 mm axis length rests on HP on one of its edges of base which is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Full stop. Draw the projections of the prism when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees. Okay, in projection of solids, the first thing what all of us have to learn first is we have to identify what kind of a solid it is, whether it's a prism or whether it's a pyramid or a cone. And next one, what you have to identify is identify what shape it is, whether it is a square prism, triangular prism, pentagonal prism, what kind of prism it is. Then its resting condition, whether it's resting on its edge or whether it's resting on its corner. So in this problem, it's clearly mentioned it is a square prism. So it's a prism first of all, and it's a square prism. Square prism in the sense top and bottom face will be of totally square shaped, and all its lateral surfaces will be of rectangular surfaces. So because in prism all its lateral surfaces are of rectangular surfaces only, and it's also mentioned it's resting on one of its edges. Okay, so let's edges in the sense it's right. I'm using the right side method. The extreme right side has to be an edge. So that's what it means. So let's proceed with the problem. So first they are telling square prism. So what we have to do, let's draw the XY line, the reference line first. So using this line, go to select normal line here, and then draw a line, draw an XY line, let it be an XY line, and then immediately go to this naming and let it be 5. So if it's not 5 also, let's try to enter 5 using your keyboard. So it's already mentioned 5 here, so not an issue. So switch on your caps lock and enter X, Y, and then also enter VP, HP, the vertical plane, and horizontal plane. Now using move option, we can place it in an appropriate position. Ensure that the copy is off here. So copy is off because we don't want multiple copies of this notations. So do that. Okay. Now next what we have to do is first draw the top view. So we have to solve this problem in 3 stages because you can see it is inclined to VP at 30 degree and HP at 45 degree. So we'll have to solve this problem in 3 stages. So using this, let's use this rectangle. So using this rectangle, let's draw this square. Let's try to give both 35 only. There is the 35 side of base they are telling. So the base and height, let it be 35, 35. So give the width as 35, enter. Height as 35, enter. And they are telling it is resting on one of its edges. So if it is edge condition, give 0 degrees. If it is corner condition, give 45 degrees. Here it is mentioned clearly it is edge condition, so give 0 degrees and just enter and just place it here. And see that this has to be completely visible. So what we have to do is go to select here, select this and make it visible. Else in the beginning itself you could have made that as well, or else not an issue. Now what we have to do is try to do the naming first. So let's try to name this corner as, so here we have to name the both top and base. So let's try to imagine the top has the corners A, B, C, D. Similarly the bottom will have the corners A1, B1, C1 and D1. So let's try to switch off the caps here. So A, and in the brackets A1, that is A1 in the sense that is the bottom face which is hidden, so it is mentioned in the bracket. So similarly it will be B1 here, B1, and similarly here it will be C1, C1, and similarly here it will be D1, D1. So now using move option again, try to position it in a correct place, in a correct position. Now go to line again. See, we have to draw the diagonals. That is very important. So go to normal line, draw the diagonals using a normal line. So from the two extreme corners, just draw two diagonals. So that is fine. So this midpoint will be O01. That is to draw the center. So top face will have O as the center, bottom face will have O1 as the center. So let's try to name it O01. O, and in the brackets let's name it O1. O01. And also using the move option again, position it correctly. Now again go to line, normal line, draw projections till the reference line from the two extreme top corners as well as from the midpoint as well. So you can draw till here. You can zoom it if you want to draw at the first stage. So how much ever that is okay. So this will be fine. So now let's try to zoom that. Okay, that's fine. Now let's try to draw the axis length. So they're telling 60 mm axis length. So using the center line, we'll have to draw the axis length. So go to line, go to center line. So center line. So from here, give height as 60, angle as 90 degrees. Enter. So now next go to line again. So go to a visible line. So let this be visible. So from here, so from each corner let it be. So I think the alignment indicator, yes, it's on. So that's okay, fine. Here the alignment indicator is showing clearly. So just draw till here. You can just using the alignment indicator, you can easily identify. So join this, you will get the front face. That is, the front face is a rectangle, as I told you, it's a lateral surface. So now do the naming again. So you can just see the here the front face, the top and bottom, that will have to name here. So here you can just see the top will, so let's do the top face naming first. So when the observer sees from here, that is wherever I have placed the cursor, A will be visible and D will be hidden. So similarly here when I name, I'll write A dash and in the brackets D dash. So go to text option, A dash and in the brackets D dash. So similarly here B will be visible, C will be hidden. So B dash and in the brackets C dash. And similarly if A dash D dash, in the sense here it will be A1 dash and D1 dash, A1 dash and in the brackets D1 dash. And similarly here it will be B1 dash and in the brackets, within the brackets C1 dash. So now using move option, let's place it in an appropriate position such that it looks neater. So this completes the first stage of the problem. So let's try to place it here somewhere. So now we'll have to draw the second stage of the problem. So let's try to continue the problem. So let's try to draw the second stage. The second stage is like let's try to select all this. So try to select this completely. Now using move option, let's try to move it. Switch on a copy here. That is very, very important. So as we are going to incline this edge, see this edge where I have placed the cursor. So let's try to move from that corner of that edge. So let's try to move it. So I mean switch on the copy. That is very, very important. So just place it here. Now what you do is using rotate option, I mean switch off a copy again. So let's try to click this as the center of rotation and let's try to, I mean let this be the point to rotate from. So like this. So give the position angle. So whatever it is given. So given the position angle as 45 degrees, they are telling it's inclined to HP at 45 degrees. So give the position angle as 45 degrees, enter. So now you can also delete this points. I mean delete these points and try to draw it, try to mention it again. Or else you could have just selected the lines alone. So sometimes even that is a very good idea to do that. Else you can delete it and mention it again, and you can just move it again. You can delete this. Now using move option, switch on a copy and just try to move those points. So like this, just move those points. Move those points to respective positions. Now what you do is we'll have to draw the projections. So let's try to draw the projections from each corner, all that. So you can just see here A1 and D1 both are here. That means A and D are here. So some A1 to A. So I'll so this is the point. So I'll just draw a projection, horizontal and a vertical projector. First a vertical projector A1, I mean drawn to a horizontal projector from A. So similarly from D1 already a projector is drawn, and from D I'll just draw it. So D1 to D, and then from B1 to B1 dash to, sorry, B1 dash to B1 or B. And then similarly C1 dash, projector is already done and a horizontal projector is already here. And similarly here I forgot to mention here one thing, that is O1 and O, that I must have mentioned in the first stage itself, which I forgot to mention. So here O dash will be there and here O1 dash will be there, so that you can mention it here. So this is O dash and O1 dash. So as it will be hidden, so as it's a center point, all that, so it will be hidden mostly. So O dash, and similarly here you can mention O1 dash. So open the brackets, O1 dash. Now using a move option, switch off the copy and place it correctly in a correct position. Now again go to move, switch on a copy and move it here. So that is O dash and this is O1 dash. So now let's try to draw the normal lines, normal projector lines again. So from O1 dash to, so here the projector has to be drawn. So similarly here we'll have to draw projections from the top face, that is A, B, C, D. So here A to A dash to A is here. And similarly D, there is a projector already drawn. And now let's try draw from B and C, that is B to B dash to B is here. And C dash to C will have to draw it here. And now you can even draw a horizontal projector directly, or you can use this extend to next option. So you can just see C dash to C is here. That means just extend this till here. That is enough. And A dash, so A dash to A we have already drawn. D dash to D, just extend this here. So that is done. And next is we'll have to draw a vertical projector from here, O dash to O. So let's try to draw it till here. So that completes all the projections. So now what you have to do is using the text option, just try to name all those corners. So this is A, B, C, D. So these four corners are, this is A, B, this is B, and this is C, and this is D. So let's try to name that A, B, C, and D. C and D. And this one is, as you know, it is O. And similarly, this one, it is A dash, B dash, C dash, and D dash. A dash, B dash, C dash, and D dash. And this one is O dash. O dash. So dash you can draw it using this key next to enter button in your laptop, in your computer, or in the keyboard of your desktop also. So as I'm doing in a laptop, it is next to the enter button. So you can just using move option, switch off a copy. Place it correctly in a position. Now let's try to draw this. We'll have to join all these lines. Already the lines are there, but we'll have to identify which are the hidden lines, which are the hidden edges, which are the visible edges, all that. You can just see the outermost portion will actually be visible. So you can just see now the observer will see from the top here, that is here, from here. That means to say, yeah, these things will be visible to him. This A, B, C, D, that will actually be visible to him. So that one can be drawn using a visible line. That is A, B, C, D. A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash will be visible. So the equivalent corners in the top are A, B, C, D. So join that A, B, C, D using a visible line, because when he sees from here, this face will be visible. That face is nothing but this A, B, C, D. So just you can zoom that and try to draw it. So just zoom it and try to draw it, so you'll get it much better. So just zoom it and redraw on it using visible line. So please draw it correctly here. So you can use this Control Z, all that sometimes. So you can see here. So join that using. So this is drawn using a visible line. So next thing what has to be made visible is all the outermost boundaries will actually be made visible. So from here to here is the outermost edge, and from here and till here. So all these are outermost edges only. So these are all outermost boundaries. So they all will be made visible. You can just see the endmost point or the endmost corner or the edge or whatever it is. Here you can just see a1 dash and d1 dash. So the equivalent one is a dash d dash. So that a dash d dash, that one will actually be made hidden. So what you can do is, so you can use this. So if you just try to select this line, this complete edge will actually be selected. So what you can do for that is, you can trim this particular one, or you can use this split option also. That is also another good idea. So select this, so split at this position. So where I am placing the cursor, so that that particular line got split. So now if you select this, only this point has got selected. So you can just make that hidden. Select this as something around 0.5, so that you will get a thicker line. Next, what you can do is O dash and O1 dash. So that one you can try to make it center line, because that's a center line obviously. So using center line you can try to do that. So that ends this second stage of this problem. So next let's proceed to this third stage. Let's try to continue the problem. So let's try. Okay, now let's proceed on to this third stage. So in third stage, what they are telling is, they are telling that the square prism is resting on a HP on one of its edges of the base. That edges of the base is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. They are telling. So edges of the base in the sense where the prism is resting in the second stage. You can just see on this corner, what it's resting. So the equivalent edge in the top, on the top view is this A dash and D dash. So that A dash and D dash is inclined at 30 degrees. Yes, 30 degrees to HP. So what you have to do is draw a line here first. So using a normal line, you can just draw directly. You can just draw a line first, or else even using, because sometimes space may not be visible. So you can draw an inclined line like this, and then just try to place that over here. So first what we have to do is just measure the angle between this both. So make it 30 degrees. You can try to select this clearly. Yes, so it is 30 degrees. So enter 30 degrees, enter 30 degrees. So though it's not showing here, you can just see in this here it is clearly visible. It is 30 degrees. So now what you have to do is just try to select this. So you can select this completely, or else using using sometimes the control control key also it can actually be done. So you can select this control key. So select all these lines. So you can just see I'm trying to select all these lines here. So you can select all these lines first, and then try to move it. So while you're moving, see that you switch on a copy. So it is very important that where you will have to move. So you see this edge is what will be made inclined. This A dash and D dash. So that is where the prism is resting. So that equivalent edge is what is resting. So that will be made inclined. So move at that particular point itself. I mean that particular corner itself, either the top or at the bottom. So let me try to move from the top. So try to select that. So though some other projections have been included, let's try to trim it later. No worries. So you can place it here. Now what you do is it's already selected, so try to rotate that. So now you switch off a copy. See that the copy is switched off. So select this corner and this corner and try to rotate it like this. So now you can just see it is rotated. So now what you can do is trim off this extra projections, all that. So you can just trim this all these extra projections. Or sometimes while selecting itself, if you are selecting it correctly, then that issue will not be there. You can just see, and you can also see now it is it has come bit above the XY line. So what you can do is select this completely. You can select this third stage, whatever the top view you have drawn in the third stage. Select that completely. Using move option, switch off a copy, place it somewhere and try to move a little bit down. So now it will be fine. Now still it will be 30 degrees only. You can just check out here. That is still 30 degrees only, so that will not vary. So now what you have to do is you can move these points or everything. So using move option, so switch on a copy and see that all these points are moved onto the respective positions. So D, A, you can even zoom it and select so that you will get it correctly, so that you can select it correctly in fact. So C and B, D dash, A dash, B dash and C dash, and similarly also select O dash. Okay, O dash can't be selected. Okay, let me try to do that later. So O is here. Okay. While you're selecting, you could have even selected this as well, but that's okay. You can try to place it somewhere. You can try to select using the line option. If you try to move like this, if you just select a line here and try to place it over here, you can just see at one point, I mean, this particular symbol will appear. So that symbol indicates that that is a center point. So just try to draw a line just to indicate it whether that is a position where the center has to be drawn. So now using trim, just trim this and now trim this also. So now using move option, you can move this, and this is the center O dash. So now we have just selected it correct. We have done it correctly. So now again zoom only that particular position, that particular one. So to draw the projections, so let's try to draw the projections for the bottom face first. So from A dash to A1 dash, and similarly from B dash to B1 dash, and similarly C dash to C1 dash, and D dash to, and similarly O dash, to O1 dash. And now again from A, B, C, D, let's try to draw that. So from A to A dash, similarly from B to B dash, and from C to C dash is here, and from D to D dash is here, and from O to O dash, draw a projection here. So now what you do is you will have to move those points, I mean mention those points again. So now A to A dash is here, so this will be A dash. B to B dash is here, so this point will be B dash. And C to C dash is here, so this point will be C dash. And D to D dash is here, and this point will be D dash. And O to O dash is here, and this point will be O dash. So see that you mention the points first. That is very, very important. So only then, because only then it will be very easier to draw those lines. And A dash is here. Okay, E dash is actually here. So A dash to A1 dash. So A dash to, so A dash to A1 dash, in the sense it's here. So A1 dash is here, A1 dash. And similarly B dash to B1 dash. So B1 dash is here. So B1 dash. So B1 dash. And C dash to C1 dash. So C1 dash is here. C1 dash is here. D dash to D1 dash. So D1 dash is here. D1 dash. So A1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash, and D1 dash. So O dash is here. So therefore O1 dash will be here. So O1 dash. So all the points are, you could see all the points are actually named now. So now it is very important, like which one to be made visible, which one to be made hidden. So all those things have to be done now. So the first thing what you'll have to do see is See, when the observer sees from here, wherever I've placed the cursor, that is this bottom face is actually visible. That is A dash, B dash, C dash, and D dash. So the equivalent one in the front view will be A1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash, and D1 dash. So you can zoom that area and try to use a visible line and try to draw that using a visible line. So you can just see this is A dash. Okay, now let's try to draw this final front view. So let's try to zoom it. So you can just see when I place the cursor here, that is this part or this face will actually be visible. A dash, B dash, C dash, and D dash. So that face will actually be visible. So when that face will actually, if that face is actually visible, that means the equivalent A1 dash, B1 dash, C1 dash, and D1 dash. So that part will actually be visible. So make them and draw that using visible line. So you can just let's try to draw that using visible line here. Now next what you have to do is similarly here the outermost boundary, so that will actually be made visible only. So let's try to zoom it clearly now. So only the outermost boundary, so that one I'll try to join it using visible line. So there is a rule in solids, that is the outermost edges will actually be made visible. Now we have to know what which one to be made hidden and which one to be made here visible. So we can just see now B1 dash to B dash. So I mean, if there is any line that comes within this square part, when I'm just joining a line within the square part, so if a line comes from here, let that line be made hidden. If a line joins outside from this, let's make that as visible. Now joining B1 dash to B dash will be joined from here, actually from the outside of this frame or whatever it is. So that one will actually be made visible. Okay, so that is not hidden, that is actually visible. So make that as visible. Next you can just see D1 dash to D dash. So when I'm joining D1 dash and D1 dash is coming within this frame actually. So let's try to make that as hidden. So D1 dash to D dash. So let's try to make that hidden. So select that line again and let its thickness be a little better. Now you can just see the outermost corner is D. So the lines coming from D, that is C and A, both will actually be made hidden. So D to D dash to C dash and D dash to A dash first. It has to be trimmed first, because if you try to if you try to draw upon it, that will be considered as only visible line. So try to trim it first, and then so try to trim that first. So you can trim it first. Now join it using a hidden line. So select that and increase its thickness to 0.5. So next one is the final one. What you have to do is join the center line, that is O to O dash. So center line O to O dash. So O to O dash. So let's make that center. So that completes the problem. So this is what is the final three stages of this problem. And in exams you can also mention your name and USN clearly. That ends the problem. Thank you.